Hey guys, it's Billy. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning a jump rope trick called the Toad, which is a beginner intermediate type cross that's very important for learning a lot of other jump rope tricks. I want this tutorial to focus though on some more general ideas about learning crosses and other kinds of jump rope tricks. So in particular, we're going to focus on a technique that I call the breakdown method that you can use for learning a wide variety of tricks, where the Toad is just one example of that. So without further ado, let me show you what the Toad looks like. And on the other leg. So that's the trick. So when we're learning a trick like this, I want us to proceed in 4 stages. And this is a method that I'm calling the breakdown method. So the first stage is just understanding the concept. What actually is this trick? So this trick involves a cross. It involves one of your arms coming up and your other arm coming underneath that leg to complete the cross. So in this case, this is a right leg toad. So my left arm goes underneath my right leg. My right arm is crossed on top. And this is the position we want to be in for the trick. I would recommend when you're starting out, just do that without the rope. Just focus on where are my hands for this trick. My left arm's underneath my right leg. My right arm is on top. If I prefer, I could start on the other side. We're going to want to learn both sides eventually anyway. Once we've understood the concept of the trick, the next thing to focus on is the entrance. So for a forwards trick, you're going to just want to have the jump rope behind you. We're going to swing it over our heads and we're going to just try and get into the position of the trick. So I'm going to do this with my right leg to start with. So I'm going to swing it over. I'm going to cross. And ideally, I'm going to try and stop the rope underneath my other foot. If you're just starting out, you might find that a little bit tricky, but don't worry. If it just like hits your leg, then you're going in the right direction. Things to focus on here is that you want to make sure that you're lifting your leg very high, really as high as you can. If it's lower down, you're going to have to bend forward. It's going to be more awkward for you to make the trick. Secondly, you're going to want to make sure that the arm that is crossing underneath the leg is doing a nice big cross to give you a large loop to jump through. So we're doing a big cross here. The closer that you can get this to a standard cross, the better. So this is my standard cross, the position. I lift my leg up. My left arm goes down slightly, but not very much. But overall, the trick is essentially the same in that regard. Okay, so we got the concept and the entrance. The next thing to focus on is the jump. So we're going to swing it over onto our entrance, but this time we're going to jump on the leg that is still on the ground. So on the right leg, that will be like that. And on the other leg, like that. Notice that we're going to want to focus here on making sure that we don't just get the rope under our foot for the jump, like here. We're also going to try and focus on getting the rope to go with enough momentum to end up over our head. That's going to be really useful because we're going to want to practice the exit of the trick, which is the last step. So for the toad, remember, we're doing a big cross. Arm is going as far under the leg as possible. Leg is nice and high, so we're not having to bend forward too much. Other arm is just in a normal cross position. I'm going to jump. And it's probably good to just get to this position so you get an idea of what you need to do. So from here, both arms are going to come out symmetrically. You're not going to move one arm earlier than the other. You're going to jump with the leg on the ground and bring this leg down at the same time. So let's just try that again. So I'm here. Rope's gone over my head and it's now in front of me here. I open my arms out, I hop over, I jump, and I finish. So you see how I just did that there really, really slowly. And I think one of the aspects of jump rope that makes it a lot easier to learn than some other activities is your ability to be able to break down tricks like these into small, easy, digestible parts. Compare this to something like trying to learn a backflip. You can't learn half a backflip and then learn the other half of a backflip because obviously you would split your head open. With jump rope, however, you don't have to worry about that, at least in the case of most of the beginner tricks, because it's not an all or nothing thing. We've got the entrance, you can practice that. The entrance from the jump, you can practice that. And then finally, the entrance, the jump, and the exit. I want to spend a bit of time focusing on an issue that people have with the toad, which is where they kick their opposite leg behind them, what I call a butt kick, when they exit the trick. It would look something like this. So that's as opposed to The proper way to do it is where both feet land together smoothly. So I think in addressing this issue, it's good to actually think about why people have a tendency to do this. And in this case, it's an area where we can actually just break the trick down and figure out what's going wrong. So if you go into your toe jump here and you swing the rope over your head and leave it slightly in front of you here, and in this case, my right leg is up. So I'm going to put my right leg down on the ground. So this would be too early, actually. And I'm going to open my hands out. You'll see that it's natural at this point to exit the jump, for me to lift my left leg behind me and bring the rope over the top. Let me show you that again. So I jump, I put my right leg down, my left leg goes up, and the rope goes over. So there's a kind of naturalness to wanting to kick your heel back. And the reason that happens is fundamentally because the front foot is going down too early. You might not notice that because it all happens quite fast when you're doing it in reality, but that is what is causing the issue. So how do we resolve it? I think there's a very simple resolution to this, which is focus on doing the toad, but not allowing your leg to drop at all until the trick is completely finished. So that would look something like this. Lift it up, keep it up, I'm open, and I hop. On the other side, lift the leg up, keep it up, hop. If you keep doing that, that will force you to keep the leg up, do the hop with the other leg, and it won't allow you to do a kickback. It's literally impossible. Once you got comfortable with that motion, then you can allow your leg to drop to the ground. So that tells you how to resolve one of the most common issues that people have with the toad. But thinking about this more generally, I think it points to a useful lesson when it comes to learning jump rope, or really a lot of other skills, which is that when you're making a mistake, which is particularly systematic, like kicking your heel behind you when you're making a toad, you could keep practicing the toad over and over again, and it's possible that you might eventually just luckily be able to sort that. But it's a lot easier to address those kinds of issues when you take a bit of time to think about, why am I making this issue every single time? By breaking the trick down and thinking about why your body is resorting to these kinds of bad habits, because there's usually a reason. In some way, it's likely to be easier than it would be for you to do the trick with correct form. Once you understand the cause of it, then you can start thinking of, how can I remedy that? So in that case, the problem was me not dropping my leg too early. So I resolved that by keeping my leg in the air for longer until I build up a habit of hopping, and then I could bring my leg down over time and get a much more natural motion. So that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave any questions that you have in the comments. Thanks so much.